Here is a quick review of the monitor communications process of the 6th edition of the PMBOK. So, if you recall, we are monitoring the communications of how the project is using its communications and if it's effective. So the inputs that we used to help us with this process included, well, the plan itself. We had to determine what was the plan and what are the necessary pieces of that project management plan that make sense to us. The project management plan, well, one is going to have the communications management plan, which is essentially what we decided was going to be working best for our communication needs. But it's also going to have other plans, such as your stakeholder engagement plans, because obviously we are mostly communicating with our stakeholders, if not almost all of the communication is with our stakeholders. And so how they engage with the information, what are their needs, what are their expectations, is all part of that project management plan. Hence, we need to use that information as an input. We can also say the various different project documents that are listing out maybe the stakeholder registry, the risk register, the other information that might also be of need to determine whether or not the stakeholder or the communication is working. Also, work performance data. As that data is coming in, how is the communication working? What is the sense? What is the raw bits? Is it going good? Is it going bad? Is it just reflecting anything? It's just sort of taking it all in, because we're going to make sense of it in this process. Additionally, we have, as a product of our environment, enterprise environmental factors, and we're going to abbreviate those as EEFs. So enterprise environmental factors, as well as your organizational process assets that you might have, templates and guides and policies, etc. And those are abbreviated as OPAs. Those inputs then, we have at our disposal various different tools and techniques that are going to allow us to, well, monitor our communications. One, and the simplest one, is just our expert judgment. What is it that we see based on our experiences, based on our knowledge and background, that is telling us whether or not this is working? What are we observing? What do we see? What are the good and the bad and the indifference? And that's our experience, our expert judgment. There are also many tools that could be used, and those are your project management information systems that assist us in maybe monitoring, observing, and also pointing out some of the trends that are emerging. Another tool and technique is just different ways to look at the data. It can be represented in many different ways. We just say data representation. Also, your skills and the skills of everybody involved, all the stakeholders' interpersonal skills in delivering and receiving, that's a tool and technique. You're watching, you're talking, you're seeing if it's working. Is it, do you need to maybe be more vocal or less vocal? That type of skills come into play. And also, you can have various meetings, or it could be part of a meeting where you are discussing with the team or the other stakeholders, hey, is this working or not? From there, with those tools and techniques, we apply it to our outputs. The outputs we have is one being the work performance information. In the inputs, we had data, then we did stuff with the data, and that creates information. It creates something we can use or apply. And that applying could mean that we want to change. We want to change how the project management plan is going and working, and in that case, we would make a change request. Additionally, there could be some updates, some insignificant updates or changes to the project management plan and any of the project documents. But that really is a quick look at the monitoring communications process in the 6th edition of the PMBOK.